Hello and welcome to the New York Farm Bureau's weekly news bite, bringing you the latest news from the New York State agriculture world.
Hi, this is Steve Ammerman, Director of Communications of New York Farm Bureau. Welcome to the brand new New York Farm Bureau News Bite. We know you're seeking new ways to stay up to date in this ever-changing agricultural world, but it's not always easy to find new, reliable news sources. Well, each week, our new podcast will bring you the issues affecting New York farmers, and will strive to keep you informed on current events and some of the things happening in Farm Bureau and New York agriculture. Also, in addition, in the coming months, we'll be exploring deeper issues and featuring interviews on topics that you will want to know about as a New York Farm Bureau member. The Grow NY Farms Coalition that New York Farm Bureau is a part of has announced that the Business Council of New York State, the National Federation of Independent Businesses of New York, and Upstate United, along with several other regional chambers of commerce, have sent letters to Governor Hochul in recent weeks urging her to maintain the overtime threshold at 60 hours on family farms across New York. Also, just a few short weeks ago, Congressman Antonio Delgado, the soon-to-be Lieutenant Governor of New York, also sent a letter to the governor expressing his disapproval regarding the Farm Labor Wage Board's recommendation to lower the farm worker overtime threshold. He said lowering that threshold over the next 10 years from 60 hours to 40 hours per week is not mindful of the dynamics of farming. And you too can still make your voice heard. Log on to New York Farm Bureau's website, NYFB.org, and click on e-lobby to send a letter to Governor Hochul asking her to stay at 60. Did you know that agriculture's greenhouse gas emissions fell more than 4% from 2019 to 2020, according to the U.S. EPA? The most recent inventory of U.S. greenhouse gas emissions in sync shows agriculture continues to represent just 10% of total U.S. emissions, which is much lower than other economic sectors. American Farm Bureau Federation economists analyzed the new data, and 2020 overall emissions from agriculture fell at least 4.3%, or 28.8 million metric tons compared to 2019. Emissions from agricultural soil management, like fertilizer applications and tillage practices, reduced by 8.4%. And compared to 70 years ago, farmers and ranchers are getting almost 3 times more out of their production than what they put into it. Per unit emissions continue to decrease among livestock, a 21% reduction in pork, 26% reduction in milk, and an 11% drop of emissions per unit of beef production. Now here is New York Farm Bureau's Public Policy Director Jeff Williams with an update from the Capitol in Albany.
Hi, this is Jeff Williams, Director of Public Policy at New York Farm Bureau. I'm at the Capitol today, just finished up a press conference in support of legislation allowing right to repair, allowing farmers, for example, to get all the necessary codes and information to fix their tractors and equipment on the fly. It was sponsored by Assemblywoman Fahey. It was a very good press conference, and things seem to be moving, at least in the Assembly, on that bill. We're also still fighting the Neo-NIC bill and the EPR bill. Still watching those, having meetings, trying to make sure the pesticide restrictions aren't enacted and the EPR bill isn't passed. There is some good news, though, in the Assembly. 2 bills are moving that we support. One would mandate that agricultural producer be included on the State Building Codes Council to provide advice on building codes from an agricultural perspective. That came out of committee this week. In addition to a bill that would extend the sales tax exemption for agriculture to horse boarding operations. That's been a long time priority for New York Farm Bureau. So 3 weeks left of session after today, which means 9 days. Not a lot of time to get things done, but we're here and working every day. Thanks.
Thanks, Jeff. Finally, we all know that farm life can be demanding and stressful. Oftentimes, farmers will struggle in isolation, but it is okay to not be okay. And this month, Mental Health Month, is an opportunity for us to talk about that message. Stress can manifest itself physically, emotionally, and mentally, which can affect your family life and your ability to tend to your farm and livestock. Also, if you know of someone who has a lot on their plate right now, reach out and let them know that you are there for them if they need to talk. There's also a number of resources available, including with AFBF's farmstateofmind.org. Again, that website, farmstateofmind.org. It offers a number of resources, including a national directory where you can find all kinds of information. And also don't forget, we have a wonderful resource here in New York State with New York FarmNet. nyfarmnet.org is their email address. And remember, anytime you reach out to them, it is always free and confidential. So please don't hesitate to reach out for help if you need it. Well, that is it for this week's Bite of News from New York Farm Bureau. Thanks for listening. And as always, make sure to thank a farmer for all that they do.